Hey everybody, it's me, Steve Schnee, the CD Junkie. On this episode of CD Junkie, I'm going to show you my Andy Williams collection. Again, I've had some additions to it, and a lot of people have subscribed to my channel since I made that video, and maybe they never went back and watched it, and plus the lighting was awful as well. I own more Andy Williams CDs than any other artist in my collection. But here is, I'm going to start off with these. These are the American twofers that came out, and each of them have 2 albums per disc, except for this one here. This was an album from 1976. It wasn't his standard album of, just a bunch of new interpretations of older songs or current songs. It's actually an album that has mostly newer material. Now, this version here I own because it has a bunch of bonus tracks. Some of them were on later albums that came out shortly after this, but there are some rare tracks that aren't available elsewhere. Now, in terms of collections, I do collect some of the Andy Williams stuff. Obviously, the Christmas. This first one here has all of his Columbia Christmas albums, and the second one is him with his brothers. It's the Williams Brothers Christmas album. And these other collections that I own are definitely worthy of your time. This B-Sides and Rarities one has a lot of tracks that aren't available on the other CDs, plus a few unreleased. This is a great collection. This is the Columbia Chart Singles collection. It's a 2 CD set. I Think I Love the 70s, which is Andy and some of his cover versions from the 70s, a lot of those that you should know. Of course, the Partridge Family, I Think I Love You, Candida, things like that. It's a great collection. This here is one that I believe did very well in the UK. He had a resurgence in the 90s, I believe, because they used Music to Watch Girls By on a TV advert. So it became, I think it entered the top 10, or definitely the top 40. But this is a great sort of loungy, cheesy, wonderful Andy Williams collection right there. And I have a Reader's Digest box set. I don't think there's anything here that you can't find anywhere else. So I may eventually have to part with that. And then, of course, the standard Greatest Hits. This was his first Greatest Hits album. The one I wanted to show that I may have shown in the end of the last video, incredible release, Emperor of Easy. And this contains pretty much all unreleased tracks, and it is wonderful. It is just great hearing Andy Williams stuff that I've never heard before and experiencing it, and it's just absolutely fabulous. It's called Emperor of Easy. And if you have a bunch of Andy Williams in your collection, you definitely need this if you love that voice as much as I do. Now, if you want to start collecting Andy Williams, the ones I'm going to show you now are the ones you should really start with. Now, of course, everything I've showed you is definitely worthwhile, but if you don't want to own a massive amount of Andy Williams CDs and you just want to stick to the core ones, then the ones I'm going to show you right now are key to your collection. This is a brand new release, and it's called the Cadence Albums. It's an 8 CD box set, and Demon Records put this out. And what they did is all of his original Cadence Records albums are included in this box set, some of them even containing bonus tracks. So you've got Andy Williams sings Steve Allen, Self-Titled. These are all the original album covers as well. Andy Williams sings Rodgers and Hammerstein. Andy Williams 2-time winners. To You, Sweetheart, Aloha. Lonely Street. The Village of St. Bernadette. And finally, Under Paris Skies. Now, there are some bonus tracks on some of those CDs, and it comes in this nice box. You'll see on the back there. Everything's listed. This just came out, and it's definitely worth your time and energy. Now, that's the Cadence Recordings. Of course, his career really took off with the Columbia Recordings. And BGO Records, they initially started out doing a twofer, 2 albums on 1 disc, but instead of doing that, they started doing a fourfer, which is 4 albums on 2 discs. So you're going to be able to start collecting the albums. They're pretty much almost in exact order of release. There are a couple things that are mixed up, but pretty much they are all in chronological order. Now, I'm not showing them in chronological order because, you know what? I forgot to put them in chronological order. But there's the twofer that came out, the 2 albums on 1 CD. Everything else is 4 albums on 2 CDs. Now, the reason I collect these UK ones is some of the UK albums were different than the American ones, and that's why I keep the American ones as well. Some of the songs were mixed around, like maybe this album had 2 songs that were on this album in the UK, and this album had 1 song that was on this album. So it's kind of mixed up a little bit, but there are also some different versions, different mixes, different recordings, different vocals. So that's why I have to keep both the American and the import ones. This is as Andy started getting into his later years. Now, this is an album from around 87, a little older. His voice wasn't as powerful. There's a lot of Rhodes piano on there. Typical late 80s adult contemporary recording. Now, in the 90s, early 90s, he recorded a country album for Curb Records. And that album never came out on CD, but they did issue the same songs under the title Best of Country. Now, this is basically that country album that he put out, there you go there. And then his last release was I Don't Remember Ever Growing Up. That's the UK version. But there was a version that was released a few years before that he did independently. There it is there. And my friend Les from Texas grabbed it for me. And it has Andy's autograph. So I was quite pleased about that. So this actually came out, I believe, like 3 years before it came out in the UK. I think slightly different track order, but same album. Different back covers. Anyway, that's it. I just wanted to update you. This is the most recent release, as well as that Emperor of Easy. If you liked his Cadence recordings, then this is definitely the one to get. Little mini LP sleeves. Like I said, it has pretty much the entire Cadence Records collection on 8 CDs. And that is it. I encourage you to collect Andy, whether you want to start with a compilation or you want to start with a Cadence recordings, or whether you just want to dive into the BGO releases. In any case, enjoy your journey into the world, into the universe of Andy Williams. And that's it for me. I appreciate you sitting around and allowing me to talk about my Andy Williams collection. I really appreciate you being here. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. And until the next time, remember me. I'm Steve Schnee, the CD Junkie.